Good morning. It's Tuesday, November 5th, 2024, and welcome to episode 799 of the Lots Project Morning Show, where the coffee's strong, the opinions are stronger, and everything is always filter free. I'm Brian, your host, and today I'm enjoying a silver, light Ethiopian. Didn't update the notes. Light Ethiopian this morning. Brand new bag, and it is nice and crispy and good. I am really enjoying this light Ethiopian. Probably going to be out before the end of the show because I've been sipping a little too much before the start. But that light Ethiopian is from foodforestfarms.com, where you can get 10% off with discount code LOTS10, LOTS10, and the shipping is always free. While you're there, check out C4 Club. Think about Christmas gifts and all the sort. Coffee is the gift. It is the gift. If I open coffee, I'd be happy. So check it out, foodforestfarms.com, the C4 Club, the discount code, all of it is there. Brian will take care of you. Today, I'm going to be talking about Peanut and Fred. If you don't know who Peanut and Fred are, you've been wrapped up in the election or sitting in the garden, one of the two. Peanut and Fred, we're going to be talking about saying goodbye to self-checkout lanes, a guy named Raphael, and more. Maybe we'll do a little election day facts and trivia that I might have pulled up and have in the wings, depending on what's going on. First, let's head on over into the live chat, see who's hanging out in the coffee crew, and we will grab a cup and hang out for an hour or so. Good morning. How we doing? John Palmer in way early. Good morning and good day to you, sir. Thanks for stopping in. Good morning, Seattle. Good morning, Seattle. Good morning, crew. Watch your six today. Stay vigilant. Yeah, everybody that has their ears on this, if it's still, anytime really this week, depending on what plays out. Take care of yourselves. Be aware of yourselves. Know what's going on. Even Canadian farmstead up there north of the border. Make sure you, and that goes for every day, but things might get a little squirrely. Who knows? Just take care of yourselves. Pip says, brought an extra pew just in case. Good morning, Reed's Rabbitry over on Noster. Thanks for popping in over there. And look at that, Hunter. Hunter is in two places at one time. Hunter on the YouTube feed. Good morning. Hanging Laundry, good morning. So here we are. Yes, here we are. Take the ride. Thanks for stopping. Canadian Farmstead's driving. Hanging Laundry says we'll have months of fighting after today. Probably. Most likely. I'm not doubting that at all. But you never know when the shot heard round the world will happen. Right? Isn't that the whole deal is you never know. So higher probability. Ducks seem to be doing okay. We got green. The crew was not happy with the Ducks' performance yesterday. Dropped down. Canadian Farmstead, I think, figured out. Thanks for that zap. Reed's Rabbitry. Appreciate that over there on Noster. If you're watching on Noster, definitely give Reed's Rabbitry a follow. REDES Rabbitry. Good content. TikTok, YouTube, all of the places. I don't know if he's posting up. Hunter, you posting up on YouTube, or I see the majority of your stuff on TikTok, really. Canadian Farmstead says we need to vote harder. Yeah. Vote harder. I don't have a polling place here, so I have a hard and fast rule today that I will not be voting. I have nowhere to vote. Reed's Rabbitry saying Instagram and TikToker is his big follows. So definitely give him a follow. I was lucky enough to meet Hunter at SRF, him and his beautiful bride, and it was nice meeting them. They've been around for quite a while, and it was good to see them in the meat space. Canadian Farmstead says vote for another $35 trillion in debt. Well, I mean, What's another 35 trillion? Good morning. Seattle said city was weirdly quiet yesterday. Low traffic and no political folks anywhere. Main intersections empty. Very odd for day before a big vote. Usually all intersections have teams of folks with signs. I haven't noticed any change here. I feel very fortunate. Good morning, Off Grid Ping. Thanks for stopping. Appreciate it. How's the truck doing? I hope everything is moving along with that. In more than one way. In more than one way. Being here in rural Tennessee is nice. I do poke fun a little bit about the madness of the political strife in this area with a town of a couple hundred people. They're going at it about their mayoral race and alderman elections and stuff that happened today. Was pretty insane, but it's nothing compared to what's going on in the cities and other places, other hotbeds of political activity. There's just not the people here to have to worry about it. Agate Laundry said has a friend in Seattle who's pretty worried about the mayhem. I would be too. It sounds as though people are really getting ready for the plan is, or the people in especially the dark blue cities and the liberal cities are getting ready for a shitstorm. So we'll see which city isn't liberal. Off Grid Ping says the plan's moving, just not the truck. So you're basically in the same spot you were on Sunday when I talked to you last. Did you find a way to get back and forth to work at least? I wish I had an extra vehicle. I'd help you out, but I'm kind of in the same boat when shit goes sideways for me. Reed's Rabbitry says Dallas is half and half. Texas is kind of its own breed, I'm pretty sure. What about Austin? Is Austin a hotbed of conservative activity? So who's has everybody heard of Peanut? Has everybody heard of has everybody what? Reed's Rabbitry must be using a voice to text or something. I'm not really sure what's going on with that. But has everybody heard about Peanut the squirrel? If you're online, I was late to the game, I think, but I've really dialed in and dialed into this story. One, because it's an interesting story. It's way better than the election. But two, this actually happened kind of close to where I grew up. Reed's Rabbitry over on Noster said, asking me if I saw it. It said it auto-translated from Dutch to English. I see a message that says that's an English. So Peanut I ran across, and like I said, so where this guy was living was close to where I grew up. Canadian Farm says that I was distracted by a squirrel again. Yeah, at least he wasn't shiny. Well, maybe he was. I'm guessing that this guy dressed him up at some point. So if you don't know who Peanut is, and Peanut and his friend Fred, so there was a guy, and I might have. I was quickly scanning the backstory and really thinking about how I feel about this whole thing. So I might have some of the exact details a little askew, but from what I understand, this guy Mark Longo found a baby squirrel, an abandoned baby squirrel. He was in the New York City area. I don't know if he moved to near my parents, near my growing up place, or if he if they just referenced that as near New York City. I am not really sure. I think from what I gather, he found it and then ended up moving after the fact. But basically, found a baby squirrel and started to raise it, which is the kind thing to do. It happens quite a bit, especially if you got kids running around in the yard. Kids running around, you out doing yard work, birds, squirrels, raccoons, little animals, they lose their babies. It's kind of nature. And humans with the soft heart and the ability to take care of them end up going and adopting the animals. So this guy finds this squirrel and he starts raising it and he starts putting it on his social media, and it catches on, as things will do. It's a cute squirrel. Like, he would dress it up in a little cowboy hat and do little things with it, and was living in his house, and it was raised by it. The guy says he's been bit by it a bunch of times and whatever. So he's just rolling with his squirrel. Ends up using the money that he's raising online through the squirrel and through some other things that we'll talk about in a little bit to open an animal sanctuary, animal rescue. I don't know how many. I think he only had 2 animals. I think it was Peanut and his buddy Fred the raccoon. I don't know if they were donating money to other animal charities, if they were in the process of setting up an animal rescue and they only had 2 animals at this point. I didn't really dial in too much on the animal rescue part of this. But regardless, this guy got pretty big on social media. First reports came out that the New York state government showed up. State and county officials showed up, and he was rescuing horses. Oh, maybe Kyle should talk to him. If the state's going to show up and euthanize his animals, that might be the perfect place for Kyle's 30-plus-year-old horse. Hanging Laundry said, I think the guy made earnest attempts to find a wildlife rescue when he found Peanut. That could be true too. I was more interested in the current situation than the backstory. Regardless of whether he found it or he birthed it or he got it from his neighbor, it doesn't really matter to what actually happened when the state showed up. So the state shows up, knocks on the door, and is like, you're illegally raising wildlife without a permit. And he's like, I got a fucking squirrel, dude. So they took his squirrel, they took his raccoon, and they ended up euthanizing him. No questions asked, no trial, no nothing. They're just like, yep, judge says, here we go. We're taking we'll just take we'll just take your squirrel and kill it. So one story that started to come out, and this was the story that kind of piqued my interest, that got me wanting to look at it a little bit and talk about it. Reed's Rabbitry says, I've seen an uptick in baby squirrels being rescued videos. Maybe it's the new trend, man. Maybe mama squirrels are over having baby squirrels, and so there's a lot of squirrel babies that need rescuing. Maybe the squirrel population needs to get into the pro-life, pro-choice debate. Maybe we need some more. Maybe the squirrel population is at the tipping point where we need more pro-choice in the squirrel world. Well, good morning. Seattle's asking about, are we talking about the narc? Not quite yet. The story that kind of TMZ ran with, TMZ, that notable bastion of journalistic excellence. They kind of ran with a story that they were wondering, um, they're wondering if it might have been some moral dilemmas that local officials had with Mr. Longo and his wife, his girlfriend, the woman that lives with him. I'm not sure if it's his wife, if it's his girlfriend, if it's his partner, if whatever it is. It doesn't really matter. Off-Grid Pink says Garfield's good at rescuing squirrels from the dangerous trees. Yeah, rescuing for sure. Garfield likes to. He enjoys squirrel parts. Pip says, forget cat ladies. We're going to have waves of squirrel mamas. Yeah, for sure. So TMZ ran with this story. They were wondering if these two were targeted not because they had a squirrel, not because they had a raccoon, but because Mr. Longo was all about showing his nuts on TV or on the internet. It appears that another way that the Mark Longo and his wife or girlfriend or whatever she is was making money on the internet was through OnlyFans. Scantily clad videos of Mr. Longo working out, some pornographic material, some things that people might not find appropriate. TMZ says that this could have been possibly the motivation for the county officials to sign the paperwork to go and knock on his door. And the reason they were wondering this is because Mark recalled when they knocked on the door, the first question they asked him was if they had any cameras in the residence. They were asking lines of questions that had nothing to do with the squirrel or the raccoon, and that he hasn't been cited for anything. He wasn't given any tickets or citations or anything regarding the squirrel. The only thing that happened was they showed up, they asked him a bunch of questions, they took the squirrel and the raccoon, and they're done. So he really was wondering if it was about the squirrel. Now, more information has come out via TikTok, so take it with a grain of salt. Like, take this whole Reed Rabbitry says, so the lady got caught watching porn and she said it was research for saving a squirrel. She wanted to see where he was putting those nuts. Jeez. So this whole story is just a shit show. And I mean, it has to be some sort of ploy and a distraction. It gives me something to talk about other than the election today, which is fantastic. But why is this such a story? TikTok has kind of done the TikTok thing and dove in and found this lady that Brian mentioned from Texas. Her name isn't Karen. I don't think. What was the lady's name, Corey? Monica Kiesler. Monica Kiesler, a woman from Texas, has claimed to be the narc. Monica Kiesler, who lives in Texas, Mark Longo and Peanut lived in New York. Monica, it appears, did not like the fact that that Mark had Peanut. Now, Monica might have been opposed to Mark's porn also. So the porn thing could have still been a motivation. but not by the state. So Monica might have been upset with Mark having the squirrel and the raccoon, but Monica decided to take it upon herself to waste her time and everyone else's and look into the laws of New York State and find out that it is technically illegal to harbor wildlife without a permit. She claims that she called to turn them in because she was afraid that the squirrel was going to give the guy rabies, that he needed to get rid of the squirrel because of the fear of rabies. I also saw a report that there's never been actually any confirmed case of transmission of rabies from a squirrel to a human, and that that Peanut had never shown any signs of rabies, and Mark had been bitten by Peanut multiple times and not contracted rabies. So it's basically a bunch of bullshit. So whatever Monica Kiesler's motivations were in Texas, other than to be just a super Karen, we don't know. We don't know. She basically came on all her social medias bragging about the fact that she was able to get Peanut euthanized, and then deleted all her social media. So there is basically, hey Hunter, you're down there in Texas. Can you go look up Miss Kiesler and see if you can get her booked to come on the show? I would love to talk to Monica Kiesler or Kessler or whatever, however you say it, to talk to her about why the government at a guy that was just trying to play with his squirrel. So I think the story is something more than the squirrel. Good morning, Seattle says I give her 7 days over under. Somebody's gonna find her. Hunter says he's gonna make a note. No promises on tracking her down. Yeah, you mess with the squirrel, you get the horns. I don't know. It's. I think the message is bigger than that, though. The fact that one woman thousands of miles away can just upend this guy's life for no reason. The fact that there's people out there that care that much, not that care that much, like if you liked Peanut the Squirrel and you followed the Mark's pages or whatever, and you enjoyed it and you spent your time doing it and it brought you happiness, that's, I think, the intent of the content, well, other than making it money. But someone that has that little joy in their life, someone that has that little amount of productive and constructive things to do in their life, that they would take the time to figure out how to get this guy's squirrel taken away. Literally, I just said to get a guy's squirrel taken away. Chris Dixon says, could the message be mind your own fucking business? That's my message. I don't know if people get it, though. Hey Chris, how you doing? Chris Dixon, welcome to the coffee crew. Thanks for stopping by. Good morning, Seattle says she's evil. You can say it. I don't even know if it's evil. I think that I think people like that just have a need to, like, was she trying to be famous? Because she got real famous real quick, the kind of famous you don't want to be. A bunch of people want her euthanized like Peanut. I don't got a dog in the fight. I don't got a squirrel in the fight. The raccoon, like, I think it's fucked up that they took the guy's pets. I think that it's going to work out in the end for him. He's already raised like 180 grand for these animal shelters or whatever. Huh? Corey, the animal lover, has a pretty strong opinion of what they should do with Monica. You guys want to know what Corey thinks? She whispered to me on her way by here a second ago. Corey thinks we should find Monica. Oh, Corey, there might be a bump in your plan. Reed's Rabbitry says rumor has it she does photography with a leaning towards the LGBT community. We're not sure if she has the proper equipment to do your plan. Corey thinks that we should track down Miss Monica and take her kids away and euthanize them. Because Corey knows the bond that you can form with an animal, whether it be a squirrel or a raccoon or whatever, especially when you raise it from a baby, especially when you save it. When you find this helpless little thing and you take it home and you save it, you end up bonded with that, whether it be human or not. It was like his kid. It was like his kid. In Minecraft. What? Is that what I have to say now, Hunter? I have to say in Minecraft. Yeah, this is all satire. I think I literally think the state should show up and take her kids away. Because euthanization would probably be the best thing for them if they ended up in the state system. Haggard Laundry says, I'm guessing the narc has cats, not kids. Well, maybe there's an ordinance where she lives about how many cats she can have. I mean, I am not hunting down Monica Kiesler. I don't give a shit about her enough to even spend the moments trying to type in her name into the internet. But that's why I didn't know her name. Hang Laundry says nothing against cats. Cats. Oh, cat ladies. Nothing against cats or cat ladies. But anyway, the fact that one person can make a phone call. There's no reports out there that it was, multiple complaints, that the neighbors were being affected by all the wild animals there, that this squirrel was getting out and causing problems, that he was encouraging other people to go find baby squirrels. He was not endangering the squirrel in any way. Just a phone call and a stupid law on the books got this dude. It wasn't only his kid, his quote unquote kid, his pet. It was also part of his livelihood. He had found a way to monetize this squirrel and the raccoon, and bravo, good for him. You might agree with it. It's stupid. You might say it's stupid. You might say it's good for him though. He found an audience that was willing to pay for what he was putting out there, and she took it away with a phone call because she didn't like it. Reed said from a different state. Right. Pip says, how is there a law against owning a squirrel and not a poisonous snake? I don't even think it's I don't think it's a law that you specifically can't own a squirrel. It was a law about owning a wild animal without a permit. I don't know. And wouldn't a venomous snake be considered a wild animal? I don't know if maybe you can't own venomous snakes in New York State. I don't know. New York State's got some fucked up laws, guys. I'm going to tell you that. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's illegal to have a venomous snake in New York. I couldn't tell you. So, so more like that's the biggest thing that bothers me. Two things. One is the fact that it could happen. Hanger Laundry says owning native wildlife is against the law. People own exotic snakes. What if they own a native wild snake? Good Morning Seattle says, why didn't they show up with the blank permit for him to fill out? Because they get their rocks off on doing shit like this. Now, the only thing a little more egregious would be if they shot the squirrel when they showed up. Like they do dogs. So the one thing that really bothers me is the fact that this could happen. That someone not within the jurisdiction, well, even if it was inside, but it's even worse the fact that, like Hunter says, she's not even in the same state, can initiate this. That a judge actually signed the warrant for this. That the state paid people to go and fucking handle this. That's one whole problem. The other problem is the stupid bitch that had nothing better to do in her life than pursue this. Show me where the squirrel touched you. Was this Monica bitch? Was she this guy's ex-wife? Was she this guy's ex-girlfriend? Was she in love with him and did he turn her down? Like, what flips the fucking switch in someone's head that says there's a guy with a squirrel on the internet? Why would you even start to look into the fact that it's illegal, first of all? Why would they spend the time to look into it? And then have the stones to make the fucking phone call. That's the thing. Those are the people that are wrong with society right now. Take the Ride says the state thought it was worth time and resources, issued a search warrant for a squirrel and a raccoon. There's nothing bigger going on in New York City than that. Or not New York City, New York State. I'll tell you that the area that they were in, Chemung County, isn't like doesn't have excess funds flowing out, and there's no issues at all in the area to where they should be focusing on squirrels and raccoons. Reed's Rabbitry says, I just thought about this. Maybe they needed a justification to have their SWAT teams for all 6 agencies. Right? So, Take the Ride says, new government haters born that day. That's the problem. Is all the publicity that's going to come from this, and I mean, it already has. The memes are everywhere. Who is saying anything about hating the government? I know everybody's joking around. Oh, they stole the squirrel. Like, who really thinks into the fact, not that they took his squirrel and killed it, the whole mechanism that happened? The whole fact that it literally could be initiated and make it through all the steps to the point where they're putting the needle in the squirrel's arm. They got the needle, they got the squirrel strapped down on the table, just like an execution. He's got his little cowboy hat on. They gave him his last meal, and they're putting the IV in him from some crazy lady in Texas making a phone call. This needs to be deeper than they killed the guy's squirrel. Oh my God, they killed the squirrel. Pip says, and how does the mainstream? How does the mainstream media claim that it's a right wing movement, that it's against the squirrel murder? Is that the case? Is this the? I saw a bunch of stuff when I started to search it that it was the right wing rallying cry, that all the Trump supporters are outraged about murdered squirrels. I'm pretty sure that anybody that has a half a brain should be upset that the state came and took the squirrel. Harambe, yeah, man. Good morning, Seattle says it's way deeper. It's the spark, but will it be? Will it be the spark, or will the powers to be manipulated into a bigger story, or a smaller story, or a different story? Take the Ride said Elon and Joe Rogan talked about that. If it can happen to the squirrels, imagine what they will do to everyone. Now, that's the thing. The squirrel, yeah. I mean, we have to realize that there's more of us. Hanging laundry. That was my hanging laundry says makes for a good distraction as peaceful protests grace the land. I think it was too early to be a distraction. I think it might have been a lead up distraction. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some major events coming up in the next little bit here. We already have the stories rolling out that in early voting, the she is not doing well. And you can never know. You can never know if these reports are accurate, if these reports are a distraction, if there's and that's the thing. Can you, as someone that votes, if you do, for you that pay close attention, that participate, when they announce a winner, whether that be tonight, tomorrow, next Friday, in January, when they swear in the new person, can any of you be 100% sure that it was actually the winner? No matter what side. Either if your side won or your side lost, can you ever be completely confident? Chris Dixon says, what doctor do you see if your election lasts longer than 16 days? I think it was 4 hours, dude. Can we ever be confident in any electoral process again in this country? Once there's doubt, not even once there's proof of, once there's not even proof that anything happened, once there's doubt, once there's suspicion, I don't think either side, Reed's Rabbitry says I'm frozen over there. Interesting. Weird. Yeah. It happens. It happens. Once there's doubt, once there's suspicion, it's over, I think. Are we just going through the motions anymore? Or are people actually confident that this process still works? I don't know. So Peanut and Fred, both gone, both in the heavens with Harambe, the ape, and Good Morning Seattle said Peanut's going to be the resurrection of Dogecoin, and Peanut is going to ride the Dogecoin to the moon as the new mascot. We'll see. Enough of that. Enough of the election stuff until the end, because I got some election facts, guys. It's good. It's not going to be bad. It's not going to be really horrible or anything. But I did have some stories that I had in the tab here that I wanted to touch on. We've talked about self-checkout at different stores. Love it, hate it. Are you worried about it? Because you can be charged if you forget, if you make a mistake, if the machine makes a mistake. We kind of talked about that at one point. You can be charged for shoplifting even if the machine makes the mistake. Take the Ride says people still have faith in the system. My buddy was telling me I needed to go vote harder. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Anyway, self-checkout is a disaster, in my opinion. I understand why it happened. I understand the intention. I think it's been a shit show. But it was the means to an ends, I think. I think it was never intended to be the end goal. I think the end goal is starting to pop around, and you've seen it pop up. I think Sam's Club did a big test run with it. I think Costco did some testing with it. Target and Walmart also did some testing. Chris Dixon says it's a solid money saver. I think it was the tipping point was the minimum wage. I think the tipping point being minimum wage, going up to a point where the machines cost less than the employees. But I don't think that self-checkout was ever the end goal. I think the end goal is what Wegmans, and it must be because I was searching Western New York or something, but Wegmans, I don't know if anybody in the audience knows of Wegmans, the grocery store chain. Pretty popular there. It's a solid store. It was around when I was still living in New York 20 years ago. I don't know if it's continued to be the higher end grocery store. But I know people that work for them. They're very happy. They never speak bad of them. So I have to assume it's a family owned run thing. But they're going down the line of where Sam's and Costco and all those companies have been doing their trials. And now that a smaller chain like this is testing it, we know it's got to be closer to actually happening. But they've started to pilot smart carts. And I don't think self-checkout was ever the end goal. I think smart carts and auto checkout is the end goal here. We've seen it a lot of places. One So basically how it works is your cart has scanners around the rim. You take an item off the shelf, it's got RFID chip, you put it into the cart, and it scans itself. You take it, you don't want it, you take it out of the cart, it unscans itself. If it's in the cart, it's in. If it's out of the cart, it's out. You walk out the door and you have your card on file, and it automatically checks you out. This is going to be a cash killer. You're not going to be able to pay cash. There's a lot of things wrong with it, and there's a lot of things that are pretty convenient about it. One thing that I've seen tied in with it is facial recognition. Well, how are you going to keep people from walking out of the store? How are you going to keep people from putting things in their pocket and walking out of the store? I saw an article a while back that was answering that, and they basically said we're using facial recognition, we're using all of these scans and this technology that we've developed, that if you leave without paying for something, you're just not going to be allowed into the store again. That if you walk out without paying for an item, the next time you walk in, the facial scanners will just not let you in the building. So you can't steal shit. I mean, you can, but this is going to be networked. So you steal anything from any Walmart in the country, and you're locked out of all Walmarts. Now, for folks that don't steal shit, big deal. Big deal. But it's the big brother part of that kind of tweaks me out. But the fact that Wegmans is now piloting these smart carts, it looks like in 1, 2, 3, 4 stores, 3 stores. 3 stores, they're rolling these things out. So they're putting a significant amount of money into this to roll out the pilot program. That usually means that it's on the way. And the fact that the smaller companies are doing it, I wouldn't be shocked to start seeing this pop up. Reed's Rabbitry said, could you imagine going to a super Walmart and only 12 people being in there with you? That'd be amazing. Well, I mean, it would really change the dynamic in the stores. Good morning, Seattle says one of his daughters is locked out of Target. She fucked around and found out. What's going to happen? So you see it's well documented. Cormac, good morning. Thanks for stopping in. It says a cashier-free Amazon shop in London used staff in India to watch people shop. There you go. There you go. And to the point where, yeah, we talked, man, it was a couple months ago about the convenience store I saw the video of on top of the mountain. It was in an RV group I think I was in that they posted it, but basically you walked in and you swiped your card to get in. There were no employees. The employees came and stocked it basically and did it and used it as and maintained the machines. But basically you swiped your card to get in the door. And there was instructions and there was a notice that don't let anybody in the store with you that you don't feel like paying for their stuff, because basically when you walked out of the building, you went in, you got all the stuff you wanted, and then you walked out of the building and it checked you out. It scanned everything you had in your possession that went out the door and it charged it to your card. Seems pretty simple. What's gonna happen to all the folks that we see stealing all the shit online? There's a million videos out there of people scamming the self-checkouts. There's locked products everywhere on the shelves. That means people are stealing shit. They don't lock up a $12 adapter that I lost my mind about at Target or at Walmart a couple weeks ago. They don't lock that up because people aren't stealing it. They don't spend the resources to lock that shit up because it's a low turnover. What's the fallout from them all getting locked out? I know the easy answer is people don't steal shit anymore. They're also buying shit. They're also not going to be able to steal the shit and resell it because I doubt they're stealing it to use it. Ripples in the pond. Hanging laundry brings up a good point. That was one of the things that I was thinking. Predators will hit harder in the parking lots. Very true. Hunter asks, what happens when you scan your card to get in, load up your cart, walk out, and you can't pay the bill, like insufficient funds, no more credit over the limit? You put the shit back. It doesn't let you out the door. I don't know. Make sure you got enough fucking money in your account. I don't know. Good morning. Seattle says they're going to just rob the supply trucks. So it's probably a pretty probable answer there. But it'll be interesting to see how this goes. Hanging laundry said that's when all the hot oil comes down in the entryway. They just tar and feather you. They tar and feather you and send you out the door, and you're done. You can't pay. Carl's Jr. thinks you're an unfit mother. Carl's Jr. will be taking possession of your children. Your children are starving. Chris Dixon says you get torched like Joe Pesci in Home Alone. Take the rest. Says so many ordering online, it's becoming harder to run brick and mortar stores. Add theft on top of that. Stores will become like drone delivery hubs. That's going to happen for sure. For sure. I think there's still a long way to go before we don't have brick and mortar. I think there is in the cities. So what if, here's a question. What if, say, Walmart, Target, all the big the superstores, the multi, they got clothes and food and all this shit, plus all the major grocers, say Kroger, Albertsons, like all of them, because the majority of their business is in the cities, all of a sudden say, good morning, Seattle says Amazon's hiring drone delivery pilots at $40 an hour. So this is manageable in a city. And we all know that there's a push to bring people into the cities. What if the major retailers decide this is the way we're going to go, and the Walmarts that are in rural areas have a specific delivery radius, and you're outside of it, but there's no more coming to Walmart. There's no more going to the store. They shut the doors. They say there's too much theft. We don't want the employees. Basically, we're going to run a warehouse that has drone delivery, smart car, self-driving car, and drone delivery within 40 miles. That's a long ways. Within 10 miles. If you don't live within 10 miles of a store, you're fucked. You're out of luck. You can order it from Amazon. You can order it through the internet, through the post office or UPS. Better start growing your own fresh food. How does it go for the people that aren't within those areas? Does it go that far? Have a fun time. Does it go that far? Do they ever shut it all down? Interesting. I just curious. Hanger Laundry says, good grief, the sky will be blackened with drones. Yeah. Yesterday I didn't get time to get to a story, and it was interesting because when I got an alert after the fact because I had the story popped up in my browser. Yesterday, excuse me. Yesterday I was going to talk about a headline I saw that we touched on it last week, I think, maybe the week before, where they were reporting on a hurricane that was in the Pacific Ocean that was going away from land, that was turning into a hurricane with nothing in its path. There was basically, from what the article said, it was going to strengthen to a hurricane and then dissipate and go away. But it was a headline, hurricane forming today or blah, blah, blah. And I was like, wait, hold on. Mike's Homestead said capitalism solves it. If people wanted and will pay someone, it'll make it happen. If we had actual capitalism here. Take the Ride says people are social, so folks will crave interaction. That's why they want you in the menagerie eating bug slop in your pod. Yeah, for true. Thanks, Jim, for the zap over there on Noster. Appreciate that. So that article last week caught my eye about the hurricane that was just going to go float around. Chris Dixon says you don't have capitalism, you have consumerism. No, we have communism. Our government 100% picks the winners and losers. 100%. Subsidies, breaks, grants, all of it. Consumerism would drive stores to open up. But anyway, reporting on a hurricane that is insignificant. Not going to do anything. It was weird. So yesterday I had on my list, it's was a headline that I was like, well, at least this one has a chance of being around. But they're really just poking at news stories to piggyback on these two hurricanes we had. Yesterday, the headline said tropical storm, which was a lie because it wasn't even a tropical storm yet. Tropical storm Rafael could form today and head towards Florida. And it was a whole article about this storm was in the Caribbean, that it might turn into a tropical storm, which might turn into a hurricane, which might hit Florida, maybe. Or it might rain. Or maybe not. So I was just going to talk about it. I was going to be like, hey guys, another bullshit article about some storm that probably won't develop, but we're going to put a headline to get the clicks. Clickbait. Lo and behold, yesterday, I get a little alert. Tropical Storm Rafael to become a hurricane and hit Louisiana on Saturday. The system is forecast to become a hurricane by Tuesday night, and there is a risk of dangerous impacts from hurricane-force winds. Another hurricane coming, guys. It could. These articles, and you can scroll down if you go to the National Hurricane Center. You can scroll down and watch the progression of this news story, because all the articles are there and they're all time-stamped. And it's this storm. There's a possibility of a storm. There's a possibility of a stronger storm. There's a possibility that it's going to be a hurricane and it might hit Florida. Oh, wait, nope. It might be a hurricane later tonight, but it might hit Louisiana. Like, basically, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about, but we're going to put headlines out there. We're going to get people worrying about it. We're going to get people stressed out about it. We're going to get people that we're going to, and I don't think this is the intention. Maybe it is. We're going to make people immune to it, to where they've seen it so much they don't fucking even look anymore. They just get used to it. Hurricane, another hurricane coming. Pip, is that how you guys are in Florida? Just another hurricane? Are there hurricanes that you, as a Florida resident of your whole life, would be worried about? I know you do your normal preparations when a hurricane's coming, but is there a storm that you would be worried about, or is all of the circuses? And now I know you live in the center of the state, and I'm guessing that would be different if you were on a coast waiting for flooding to come. But at what point do you get worried as someone that's been through this? Is it a category 3? Is it a category 4? Because me watching the news, never been experiencing a hurricane. If I hadn't talked to people that have been through them, I would think if I lived in Florida and there was a category 3 coming, that it was like I should really consider getting the fuck out of there. And there's 2 more categories above that. It was like the fact that it was like when you actually looked at the statistics from tornadoes. Tornadoes are devastating when they hit shit. Absolutely devastating. But what are the Jim? Okay, Jim's another Florida guy. You watch the path and decide accordingly. Okay, the path. What about the strength, Jim? What about the strength? Does that weigh in your decision? Is a category 3 tracking towards you as opposed to a category 5 tracking towards you? Does that, I mean, obviously it should affect your decision, but what is that tipping point? So this is a tropical storm. Technically, we can call it a hurricane when it reaches a certain strength. But is the technicality of the fact that it's a hurricane so we can blast headlines? What's the actual strength? What's the actual damage from is there a category 1 hurricane? I don't know. Is there a category 2? All I've ever heard of was like a 3, 4, and 5. I'm not a hurricane. I haven't ever experienced one. Haven't ever. I don't know if I would live someplace where I could. The tornadoes, though, when you think about the width of a tornado, the path of a tornado. Jim saw a tornado in the last hurricane. And then you think about all the land. What are the odds that the hurricane or the tornado is going to hit you? Now we got tornado season coming up here soon, and it does worry me. what are you going to do? It can happen anywhere. Have we come to a point where we're just Jim says he's leaving if a 3 or more when it hits land. So category 3 or more when it hits land. Are you from Florida, Jim? Or are you just are you new to hurricanes? Because that's a different message that I've heard of than other people that are Florida natives. I don't know. Anyway, we got Raphael coming. Jim's going on 10 years there. Getting there. Raphael's coming. Jim says we get water and he leaves. I mean, do you know how to swim? Reed's Rabbitry seems like earthquakes in California, like you don't even pay attention if it's not a 6.0. And Jim says he's in a low spot. Okay. That was another thing that blipped up on my radar yesterday. There was an earthquake here close to Memphis. On that big old fault there was a decent 3.0 something earthquake. So we're going to fire up the earthquake machine. Are the Giants going to wake up now? Interesting. Not real excited about being where I am if that baby rips off. For sure. As we wrap up here, I did go and look up some interesting election facts for election day. Slandering opponents, using opponents' shortcomings for your political gain is not a new thing. Calling out people for shit. If you didn't know, in 1828, in the election between Andrew Jackson and John Quincy Adams, so we're talking a while ago, they handed out John Quincy Adams supporters handed out what are called coffin handbills, pamphlets featuring images of coffins, and accused Jackson of killing specific men in duels. The earliest smear campaigns, guys. Wait, okay. Jim says getting trapped in is worse than getting trapped out, and if they were at higher ground, they'd ride them out. Okay, so you're in a spot that's going to flood. I mean, that's a smart call if you know what's going to happen. Water kind of goes to the same place all the time. So smear campaigns have been going on for a long time. Turbo Tater Quake. Did you know that there's been a push to vote by phone? There's been a push to have voting by phone from as early as the 1960s. That in the 60s, some officials predicted that by the 80s, all Americans would be voting via phone to save time and streamline the process. Weird. We've been trying to streamline the process for some time now. The original voting rights of non-citizens in the early days of the U.S., some states allowed non-citizens to vote in local elections. This practice continued in some places until the 1920s, and there's still occasional debates about allowing it in local elections again. What do you guys think about non-citizens voting? Hey, Chris Dixon, up in Canada, can non-citizens vote in Canada? There was just a court case here in Virginia, Pennsylvania, one of those that they had to get them off the ballot or disallow them from getting ballots. Arizona, did you know that Arizona outlawed camels at the polling place? So if you're out in Arizona today and you got your pet camel and the state has not come and taken it and euthanized it, You cannot ride it to go vote. In the 1910s, Arizona explicitly banned camels at the polling place. This was likely because camels were used in the state's arid regions, and the law aimed to keep polling areas free from disruption. Mike says, "Let them waste their time." And my favorite participation trophy. The origin of the I voted sticker. The well-known I voted sticker didn't become popular until the 1980s, when it was initially intended as a reminder for voters to show their peers they cast their ballot. Look at me. Look at me. Today, it's become a widespread election day badge of honor and even an Instagram staple. If it's that important, why would you forget? If you need to see the sticker to remember it wasn't important enough to fucking do. I'm helping. When I see a I voted sticker, all I can think of is Ralph Wiggum saying, "I'm helping." Guys, like I said earlier, like Scramble had reminded us, keep an eye out. Be vigilant. As always, know what's going on around you, but maybe heighten that little sense of unagi around you for a little while. Jim says they stole the idea from the I gave blood sticker. Was there an I gave blood sticker before the I voted sticker in the 70s? I didn't know. Interesting. Make sure you know what's going on around you. People are going to get squirrely. This shit means a lot to a lot of people. It shouldn't. If you think that Sniffy Joe is still running this country, that the president actually has anything to do with what the fuck is going on, then let it be important to you. But do something today that it makes it so it doesn't matter if Trump is elected, if Kamala is elected. It doesn't really matter. Take the Ride says, my favorite voting story is the Battle of Athens. Look it up if you've ever heard of it. Hanging Laundry says, loved his ass slap comment. Who slapped whose ass? I don't know what happened. All right, we're gonna wrap up. I hope all of you are safe. I hope if you vote, you go and vote, and your candidate wins. That it is what it is. I have my opinions of who will probably win and why and what will happen, but that's none of it. Isn't anybody's concern because I don't have any effect on it. Even if I went and pulled a lever, it wouldn't make any difference. So I hope everything works out for you and your candidates, and you have a great day. If you got to go vote, I got a busy stacked day of recording content. I got 7 interviews to give today. Yeah, new show launched yesterday. If you haven't gone and checked out episode 1 of Director Detour, you can search it on any podcast player, including Fountain, Apple iTunes, Podmat or Podcast Addict, whatever you use. Search Direct or Detour. Listen to my episode number 1 with Larry Easto. It was good. We got more coming up. It'll release every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Going forward, I got enough booked out to get into the new year, so definitely check it out. Subscribe. You can find it also on Patreon at patreon.com/direct or detour. Nice community over there, building that up, and going to give away a lot of exclusive content over there for people to join, even free membership. So Hang Laundry says, I hope the link is in the description. I believe it is. Yes, it was. It's the podcast feed. The podcast feed is in the link description. And if you listen to the podcast, the Patreon is linked there. You can find it on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn too, if you select if you do Director Detour. All right, guys, I got to wrap it up. I got to get out of here. I got to get prepped up for all those interviews today. It basically starts at 9:30 and goes till 4. So wish me luck every half hour on the hour, and we'll knock it out. You guys pay attention to that election chip for me. Pip's already on it. Go team, go red, go blue. We'll see you in the morning. Wonder if we'll have any election results. Hope you guys have an awesome day. Go stand in line and pull your little lever and hope your team wins. We'll catch you tomorrow.